We are live, folks. Look at that. We're live on time, bang on time. How about that? How are you all doing? It's just me, I'm afraid, this week. I know it's all a bit mixed up, isn't it? There's no Rob, no Ben. It's on the wrong day, and it's just me. So I apologize in advance for what will almost certainly be an extremely low quality live stream. And for that, I can only apologize. That said, we'll struggle through it as best we can. Thank you all for joining today. And yeah, what a day. Wow. Well, we're going to have to talk about Ledger, aren't we? So we'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's do the hellos. I see, funnily enough, Rob is actually lurking in the comments. So now the reason, a bit of housekeeping first. The reason that we changed the day and the time, basically Ben is off to Bitcoin Miami. In fact, he may already be in Miami. So that was he's certainly gonna be in Miami by tomorrow. And look, I can't say, I've just heard rumors that Ben parties very, very hard. As soon as he gets away from that living room of his, all bets are off. Or so I've heard. That's just, that's just what's come through to me on the grapevine. And Rob, meanwhile, is not feeling all that well. He's saying actually in the comments, my throat is torched. Strep throat got me. Ouch. Well, Rob, I hope you feel better soon. I'm sorry to hear you're not well, sir. But it's great. Thank you for joining for moral support. And this will only reinforce how vital it is that you and Ben are back next week. So get well soon, Rob. And I'm sure everyone else in the comments, everyone watching, will join me in wishing Rob a speedy recovery. Although, having said that, perhaps this is a cover. Perhaps Rob is also in Miami or Miami bound and just wants an excuse to absolutely tear it up. I mean, maybe him and Ben are going to sort of double team Miami. So, basically, my advice is if you're going to be in Miami over the next few days, just watch out. Okay. Okay. How is everyone doing? Firstly, where are people joining from? I'm seeing people joining from Argentina. Thank you, whoever says you love me. That's very kind. Yes, we are going to talk about, did you know John Cena follows you on Twitter? I did not know that. John Cena, is that how you pronounce it? He's the wrestler guy who's a movie star. He's pretty cool. See, it's not just crypto nerds who follow me on Twitter. Apparently, John Cena as well. Maybe John is watching. John, you're welcome. Cornish crypto. You're a regular viewer. When you coming to Cornwall, I'll make you and the missus a proper pasty. Fantastic. Well, we are back in the UK in June. So we're going to be staying in Somerset for a bit. So we may be able to dip down into Cornwall for Mrs. Cornish Crypto's pasties. That would be great. Thank you very much. If none of you out there have ever tried a Cornish pasty, my word, you are missing out. They've got to be a proper one though from Cornwall. Anyhow, we should probably talk about crypto, really. So people joining from South Africa, from Hong Kong, from Brazil, Namaste, from India. I'm a regular viewer, 2 million blog. Thank you very much. Great to see you back. Hi from Syria, Oklahoma City, Australia. Someone else saying nice cider, Riga. And lots of people wishing Rob get well soon as well. Hi from Zurich, Switzerland. Lancashire pasties. I've never heard of Lancashire pasties. Is that a thing? Okay. Boston here. Hello from India, Romania. Excellent. Always good to have someone from Romania. Hi from Greece, from Abu Dhabi. Oh, you're just up the road or down the road. From Hungary, Mauritius, Israel. This is fantastic. And Rob saying, thanks, everyone. Let's get some alpha from this guy. So I think that is Rob saying, just get on with it, guy. Talk about Ledger. Come on, then. Okay, so what's been going on with Ledger? So this is basically a new service that Ledger has rolled out. I think they announced it yesterday. And this is basically a subscription service, whereby it's basically a way to recover your seed phrase if you lose it, if you forget it, or whatever happens. So now, the first thing I will say about this Ledger business is that, lost seed phrases, problems with seed phrases and stuff. This is a thing. Like, so I think Ledger, certainly there's something to be said for trying to address this problem. I read something, I think it was on Blockworks, an article that said, I think last year around $500 million worth of crypto was thought to be lost because of people, because of problems with people's seed phrases and stuff. So I don't think this is certainly, this is not a case of a solution in search of a problem. This is clearly something that needs to be addressed. And I guess this kind of falls under the sort of general umbrella of UI in crypto, of the user experience, of the user interface and user experience. Crypto has a lot of things that it needs to get right, that it needs to improve on. And one of the ones near the top of the pile is definitely user experience, because a lot of it is very, very fiddly, and it's not optimal. It's not ideal for someone, especially new to the space. But let's face it, like people who've been around in crypto for a while, they still get caught out by some of these things. And I think it's probably fair to say that the whole seed phrase thing is it's kind of too clunky. It's not optimal. So we do need a solution. And so I think Ledger certainly had the right thing in mind when they were proposing some sort of way of people being able to recover a lost seed phrase. So I've got to say I'm with them on that. But now this service, as I said, this is a subscription service that Ledger are offering, and I'll come back to why I think that's probably the main driver of all this in just a moment. But basically, users subscribe. They pay, I think it's $9.99, $10 a month, whatever it is. And by doing that, their seed phrase gets sharded into three parts. These three shards are then sent to a custodian. Now, these are three separate custodians. One, I believe, is Ledger, and then there are two others. These and then the user also has to upload ID as well. Now, this is because if they try to recover those shards, then they need to submit some sort of ID verification. Now, Ledger's big line on this is that this is an opt-in service. Okay, so if you don't like the sound of it, if you don't want to do it, if you don't want to pay $10 a month for this, then you don't have to do it. Now, the problem comes from the fact that by doing this, now it doesn't matter how trustworthy these custodians are, how secure the data is, how secure they keep these shards of your seed phrase. The fact is that the seed phrase is still being exported from the device. Now, this I don't care which way you slice it. This just is not right. Okay. Now, the whole point of one of these hardware devices, and let's remember as well, these hardware wallets are they're dumb devices. Okay, then they don't need huge amounts of functionality. They're basically a device. It's kind of like an encrypted flash drive, really, to store the private keys to your crypto. So, but this is the important thing, like they store the keys. The keys are never supposed to leave the device. And if you're able to export the passphrase, then that turns that supposedly cold wallet into a hot wallet. And this is completely against the whole point of having a hardware wallet. Now, a lot of people will have pointed out, I think Ledger have also pointed this out. Now, this is an upgrade for the Nano X. So as far as I'm aware, it doesn't affect earlier models of Ledger device, so your Nano S's, etc. However, now this takes the form, this new service will be available via a firmware upgrade. Now, again, I think Ledger's line on this is, well, you don't want it, you don't subscribe, don't install the upgrade. However, as soon as that firmware upgrade is installed on the device, and you imagine that sooner or later Ledger, Nano X users will have to install that firmware in order to keep the device up to date, then all of a sudden there is the functionality to export the seed phrase from the device, and that just is not right. So, as you can imagine, there's a fair bit of uproar about this in the crypto community, and Ledger's kind of doubled down on it. It's obviously, this is kind of kicked off. I imagine it's been a pretty long 24 hours over at Ledger HQ in I think they're based in France, Ledger, aren't they? So yeah, this is causing a heck of a lot of grief. Ledger seem to have doubled down on it. Now, I have seen speculation on places like Reddit that this is something that the French government has mandated in order to provide a service for people to be able to access their crypto, if they lose their seed phrase. That's just a rumor I've seen. I'm afraid what I think is more likely is the fact that it is a subscription service. Now, Ledger, has been selling these hardware devices for a long time. Now, the thing with one of these Ledger, with kind of any hardware wallet really, is that once you have one, unless you're planning to store enormous amounts of crypto, in which case I would recommend probably storing it over, 2 or more devices. But unless, for people storing a kind of average amount of crypto, you only really need one. You only really need one device, unless you're going to be storing all sorts of exotic altcoins, in which case you're going to need to, to get a higher spec model which supports those coins. So I guess this is the big problem for companies like Ledger, is in that they have these devices, and once they've sold one to someone, that in most cases is it. Now, we did see kind of earlier, was it last month or the month before, they were advertising a kind of chain where you could keep your wallet round your neck, which is possibly one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. Why anyone would go around carrying a crypto hardware wallet around their neck, advertising the fact that they hold crypto, just makes no sense to me. And I'm not going to say that sort of person would deserve to have their crypto taken from them, because no one deserves that, but they certainly wouldn't be making it, any easier for themselves. So yeah, Rob in the comments, that fashion thing was dumb. It certainly was dumb. So yeah, why? So my guess is that Ledger, it needs to keep its sales up. Unfortunately, it has a device that most people, they only need to buy once. It's not something Alt-Gene, that is a frankly I really should share that comment, but I'm not going to, because oh my word, that is probably not the answer. Yes, gangsters like teeth and chains. They do. Gangsters also, it seems, like having their crypto stolen from them. Anyhow, so my guess is, as I say, that I think this idea of a subscription service is kind of Ledger's attempt to basically keep an income stream coming. And in that sense, it's it's not the worst idea. I kind of understand their predicament in that respect, because let's face it, remember, we're in a bear market at the moment. That bear market, I think, is due to continue for quite some time. So sales of hardware wallets, which I think really peaked in the aftermath of FTX, those sales, I think, will now be kind of fairly flat. So Ledger's income has obviously taken a hit, and this is, I guess, their attempt to sort of to keep some money coming in. And they have my sympathy in that respect, because these are tough times for any crypto company. But I'm afraid that pushing out an update like this, that essentially invalidates your whole MO, the whole point of having a cold wallet, that is not the way to do it. So yeah, this is a massive cell phone from Ledger. Now, apart from this, now there's obviously, I think one of the things that a few people have kind of flagged up about this as well, this idea of, not only is exporting the seed phrase from your wallet a very bad idea now, and of course it's not just that, it's also the fact that there will be then an electronic copy of your seed phrase out there. And guys, I'm sure you don't need me to tell you this, but you should never keep an electronic copy of your seed phrase. You should never write your seed phrase down and save it as a note on your phone, which I know some people do. You should never keep it as a document on your computer. That is why they give you at least 2 bits of paper, 2 old-fashioned, tried and tested bits of paper. When you buy your hardware wallet, you are supposed to use those, and you are supposed to make multiple copies of your seed phrase. It's not a case of writing it down once, sticking it in your drawer and forgetting about it. And this is, again, this isn't optimal from a UX point of view. This is tough. There's a lot to think about. It's not always straightforward, and it can seem daunting for people new to the space. But as I've said before, financial freedom is not about having enough money that you can just do what you want. Financial freedom is about being in control of your assets. Now, a good hardware wallet allows you to do that, but you have to give something to it as well. You have to make sure that your seed phrase is properly written down. You have also got things like steel seed cards. There is a fair old market for other ways of storing your seed phrase that don't involve any sort of electronic device. Now, what does Quandary say? Let's have a look here. I've missed that comment. There we are. Quandary says, keeping the seed phrase safe isn't difficult. We don't need this type of system that destroys the whole point of having a cold wallet. Quandary, you are absolutely right, sir, or indeed, madam. So yeah, as I say, those pieces of paper that come with any hardware wallet, a ledger, a Trezor, whatever it is, they are there for a reason. They are there to be used. Now, I must say, I do think the idea of splitting up your seed phrase is a good one. And there are ways that you can, you can split it up. You can I would recommend splitting it up into 2 or maybe 3 pieces. This is what Ledger was kind of aiming at. Keeping those 3 pieces very, very separate. I know that some people, Vitalik, for instance, I think half of his I think his parents have half of his seed phrase. He's talked about this in the past. But you have to work out a security protocol that works for you, and whether that involves people that you trust, people like your family, is kind of up to you. I mean, you have to really trust them. And I think a lot of this is also about keeping your seed phrase so that if God forbid you have an accident and are killed or incapacitated, then those close to you are able to access your crypto as well. It's not a convenient process. It's a pain in the backside, but at the moment, it is the best we've got, and we have to stay analog. So that's my Ledger doing this is like having an oven that tops 30 degrees. Christopher is saying the metal punch card is a great way to keep track of your seed phrase. Yes, that's right. The Engrave wallet comes with that. So I should talk about some of the other wallets out there. Now, one of the big things, I'm not going to bang on about Ledger too much more because I kind of said my piece on it. But what I will say is, I think really the only answer to this, Ledger's best move from this point onwards is to open source its code. That has got to happen. I think we've got to be able to see now. Trezor's code is open source, and Trezor is obviously, I think, obviously a good alternative here if you're disillusioned with Ledger. Now, I'm not going to say, folks, that you should ditch your Ledger and go for something else. That is a decision you have to make. But my thoughts on this latest upgrade. I don't think it's right at all. As far as I'm aware, it'll only affect Nano X devices. I'm not sure about their new device, the sort of folding one. I would kind of assume that would have the functionality as well. But as far as I'm aware, the earlier nanos, like the Nano S, aren't affected. So this is a decision that you guys have to make yourself. All I would say is that I use a Trezor. I also use an Engrave as well. I've started using one of those fairly recently. And I think they are very good. I like the fact that Trezor's code is open source. And I think, like I say, I think Ledger needs to make that code open source as well. That, I think, is the way that they can begin addressing this problem. I don't think this is the end of the road for Ledger. Ledger devices have, to the best of my knowledge, been pretty solid up to this point, but this is not the way to go. And obviously, the other thing, the one last thing I'll say is that there's obviously been a bit of concern because Ledger got hacked back in 2020. Not the devices itself, but Ledger's customer database got hacked, and I think something was like 250,000. The details of about 250,000 of Ledger's customers were leaked on the internet, and that was not pretty. So Ledger dropped the ball then, and I kind of think has dropped it now. But that's not to say that they can't fix this. But yeah, I think they need to look at this. They need to look at this article. They need to look at this upgrade again, I think. So lots of people in the comments. Yeah, lots of people. Yeah, kind of a bit disillusioned with Ledger. No selling of your Ledger. My Ledger Nano S is now worth more than $60. Who wants to buy my Ledger Nano S for 1 BTC? The Shaolin, no. We can't have. Don't go selling secondhand ledgers or any other wallet devices on the internet. Goodness me. End of the road for Bitcoin if you can't store it safely. That is an interesting one, Flat Smack. I think you've got a point there. I wouldn't say I agree 100%, but hey, look, it's we can't trust centralized exchanges. Trust has taken a real hit over. I know you're joking, Shaolin. I know you're joking. We can't trust centralized exchanges. So yeah, I think it is vital that we have a way that we can be 100% confident that our crypto, our Bitcoin, our Ether, whatever it is right now, that we can be 100% confident that it is stored securely and that there is no way the seed phrase can leave the device. No, just can't be happening. Okay, so right, let's move on. I think I've said my piece about Ledger. Keep your opinions coming in the comments about it. It's certainly been an interesting 24 hours, and it's been the big talking point in crypto over the last day or so. Now, just before we came on air, I shared an article from CoinDesk, which said Tether is going to, this has just come through in the last sort of half an hour or so, Tether is going to allocate 15%, 15% of its profits into Bitcoin. Now, I just want to quickly check the charts here and see if that has, nope, that has not impacted the price one bit. But we have seen that. Now, obviously, Tether published a list of the assets that are backing USDT fairly recently, and the kind of eye-catching one was that they have, I think, around $1.5 billion in Bitcoin. This would certainly be bullish. Now, I sort of did some very back of the envelope calculations here. So Tether allocating 15% of their profits, let's say monthly profits, into Bitcoin. So they made $1.5 billion last quarter, which is $500 million a month. So, and what were they saying? 15%. So is that $7.5 million, or is my maths completely terrible? I don't think it's yes. Rob says, "Man, I hope this stablecoin investment does better than the last stable that invested heavily into BTC, Luna." Yes, UST. Yeah. Maybe it's not the good news we thought it was. And look, Tether is one of these. Tether is one of these companies that people get very wound up about. It's controversial to say the least. However, I will say Tether makes profits. Tether has been making solid profits, and it is, it is still going okay. And I know a lot of people are uncomfortable with the fact that it's kind of opaque. And let's remember that this, I think it was an attestation that it published, so it's not a full audit. No independent auditor has sat down and gone through Tether's books, and until they do, there are always going to be question marks around Tether. So I will say that. And yes, Shaolin, Tether already has a significant balance of Bitcoin, like $1.5 billion, I think, which pales in comparison to all the other stuff. It's mostly US Treasuries. We'll talk about US Treasuries in a moment. They could be looking a little shaky fairly soon. There's a little bit of concern over US Treasuries, but we'll get back to that. Someone's saying, can you bring the rhymes again soon, David? All right, David, I will. Yeah, I will try and bring back some rhyming intros. I kind of felt that I exhausted my entire stock of rhymes in the last bull market, but I'll do my best. Okay, so yes, so like I say about Tether, there's always going to be question marks until we see that full audit, but they have kept going. USDT has held its peg despite everything, despite all the regulatory scrutiny, despite the FUD. So we've got to be very careful with spreading Tether FUD, because so far they've stayed strong. Obviously, USDC depegged when with Silicon Valley Bank. So that, I think, dented a lot of people's confidence in USDC. That was a worrying thing to see. Now, something I will note about USDC, and I think let's use that to Ben Cowen having a chess party in Miami. Source, Christian? I mean, I think that's likely. But how wild and out of control do Ben Cowen's Miami chess parties get? That's what I want to know. Okay, right. So yes, talking about US Treasuries and talking about Circle, you might have seen the headline that Circle recently announced that it wasn't holding any US Treasuries dated past June. So it's holding very short-term US debt at the moment. And the reason for that is obviously the good old debt ceiling. Now, we discussed this. Rob, Ben, and I were talking about the debt ceiling last week. And I think... sorry, I'm just reading the comments there. We were getting a little concerned about the debt ceiling last week because it is getting closer to that June date. Now, for anyone unfamiliar, Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary, has said that the US government will run out of money come the 1st of June. Now, my guess is that she's probably sort of brought that date forward a little bit to try and speed up negotiations. That's pure speculation on my part. But anyhow, I think it's certainly very, very worrying that she's come out and said this. At the moment, so the debt ceiling has been reached. So at the moment, the US government cannot borrow any more money. That is, it cannot issue any more bonds. So it is basically running the country using the Treasury General account. It's basically its checking account. So if now Janet Yellen has said that checking account is basically going to run out, her call is the 1st of June. So if that happens, then the US is going to, then the government is not going to be able to do things like fund infrastructure. It's not going to be able to pay federal employees. And as many people have pointed out, that includes the military. And I think when you've got a military as big and powerful as the United States, you probably want to pay them, especially in the world that we're living in today. And obviously that, I bet Ben's parties include some dominance. Not that sort of dominance. Okay. Yes. So obviously, this is a bit of a concern. But the real worry is not just the fact that federal employees won't be able to pay, and you assume kind of the government will kind of grind to a halt. But it also means that the US will default on its debt. It won't be able to make payments on its US bonds. Now, this will not just be bad for the US economy, it will be bad for everyone. So we have about, just about 2 weeks left. There are 2 weeks for US politicians to agree on a debt ceiling deal. I should say as well, I'm sure Rob will agree with me, or maybe not. I don't think Rob has an awful lot of trust or faith in the US government, but I think Rob will agree that it's most likely that they will agree a debt ceiling deal because they know the consequences if they don't. But that said, US politics just seems like an absolute mess at the moment. They are pretty much at odds. So there is always a sneaking suspicion. There is always a concern that they may not be able to agree that debt ceiling deal. And just as that gets closer, as the days tick by and we don't have a deal, yes, and the $1 trillion coin, I think, is the thing that's been has been suggested. I'm not sure that would work. It's an interesting concept, the $1 trillion coin. It is going to get trickier and trickier. So, like I say, I think we will see a deal agreed. I think and Biden has apparently cancelled his trip to Australia in order to go back home and sort this out. Obviously, the two sides of the arguments are the Democrats, the Biden administration. They want, I think it's called a clean raise, as in Republicans just vote to raise the debt ceiling and they just carry on adding more debt to the pile, which is $31 trillion. Whereas the Republicans, they want concessions, they want spending cuts. And I think those spending cuts are in the region of sort of $4 trillion, if I believe. And obviously, that's to things like welfare, which are obviously kind of close to the Democrats' heart. So there's definitely an impasse. An immovable object has met an unstoppable force, you might say. So they've got to work something out. What does this mean for crypto? What does this mean for markets in general? I think probably at the moment we're going to be all right for the next few days. But as those days tick down, as we get closer to that June the 1st deadline and there is no deal, then I think markets are going to get a lot more volatile. And obviously risk assets like crypto market can be volatile enough, as well we know. So, I think that is something to watch very, very closely, guys. The debt ceiling, those ongoing discussions in the United States, because they need to sort their shiz out, as we say. And I think, we could see a lot more volatility. And remember, folks, the last time I think the debt ceiling was basically they raised the debt ceiling all the time. It's become kind of almost a routine thing over the last few years. But back in 2011, I think it was, they basically agreed to raise it at the very last moment. That was back in the Obama administration. And stocks still crashed 17% the next day. And the US's credit rating was downgraded for the first time in history. So it was ugly, and basically we don't want to see it again. So keep a very close eye on the debt ceiling deal. Okay, or lack thereof. So there's certainly still those kind of macro headwinds, and I think perhaps that's part of the reason why crypto is not really doing too much at the moment. One crypto that did pump recently was good old XRP. Now this, did people see this? This is the never-ending story, the ongoing saga of Ripple versus the SEC. As I understand it, the judge, Ripple, has been trying to seal up some internal communications regarding a speech that Bill Hinman, who's a former director, he's the guy who said all those years ago that Ethereum is sufficiently decentralized. And the SEC wants to keep the subsequent internal discussions following that speech, they want to keep them under wraps. And the judge has ruled that the SEC can't do that. And this is obviously very good news for Ripple. And it would be fascinating, I think, to see what the SEC's thinking on that was in the wake of Ethereum supposedly being sufficiently decentralized. So that's definitely something to watch. That is the reason XRP is up. It's currently around 44 cents. Yes. Oh, I remembered. So that is the reason why XRP has pumped over the last 24 hours or so. Good news in the case. Any of you who have been around for more than 5 minutes will know that this is not necessarily a sign that the case is about to draw to a close. The Ripple case could well go on until the end of recorded time, until the sun blows up and engulfs the earth and renders all human endeavor completely pointless in the end. The Ripple case could well still be going on at that point. So good news for Ripple, but I wouldn't get too excited about any kind of resolution to that case, certainly in the next few weeks or so. Okay, so that is XRP. How am I doing for time? I'm doing all right. I thought I'd do kind of about an hour today, until I saw that people in the comments were kind of starting to lose the will to live. No, Luis, no NFA live today, because Ben is in Miami or on his way to Miami. Watch out, Miami. Rob is not feeling too good. He's got a nasty throat infection. So I decided that I would inflict myself on you solo. And from the pure despair that I'm seeing, I'm seeing in the comments. I mean, people are still watching, so that's something. So sadly, the sun won't last, but Ripple will. Ripple will. Ripple and XRP will still be there. In front of Guy's laptop, the front of Guy's laptop has a Pepe sticker. It does. Okay, now, hang on. Yeah, there's the Pepe sticker. And there's a Wojak sticker on the front of my laptop as well. Now, before you guys get too excited, before you kick off on one, I've had that Pepe sticker on the front of my laptop for quite a long time. All right, we're talking months, maybe even a year now. So, don't take that as a sign. Don't go aping into Memecoins, folks. That sticker has always been there. So there we are. There's the Pepe sticker on the laptop. I am fond of the Pepe meme. I used to teach, and I'm just there on Uniswap all day. Well, I mean, it's on Binance now, isn't it? Oh, what a day. Did any of you see the update I did here on Coin Bureau Clip? And not really an update, just my sort of thoughts on the whole Memecoin madness. I put a video about that out here on Coin Bureau Clips a few days ago. I must say, I enjoyed doing that one. It's kind of fascinating to watch this whole Memecoin thing. You are a Pepe millionaire. Anyone is. So yeah, my kind of 2 cents on it are, I think there are sort of two things driving that have been driving the Memecoin madness. It seems to be sort of running out of steam a little bit, but you can never write these things off. I think perhaps a big reason for the Memecoin thing is boredom. Like, let's face it, crypto there's lots happening in crypto. People like me find it absolutely fascinating all the time, but I can kind of appreciate the fact that for a lot of people, it's a little bit dull at the moment. A lot of the talk is about regulations and things like that are kind of, can be boring to some people or just, plain depressing to others. The Ripple case is dragging on until the end of time, so there's nothing. That's SBF's trial isn't until October, so that's ages away. So, and obviously, crypto, the prices of cryptos have been kind of fairly static. We're seeing kind of sideways trading. Really, there don't seem to be huge gains out there. So, I think basically the last few weeks have shown that there are still degens in crypto. There are guys. Pepe sticker will last longer than the token. Quite possibly. Thanks everyone for all your nice comments as well, by the way. I'm seeing lots of very nice people saying very nice things, and I greatly appreciate it. It's always nice. I must say, I really enjoy doing these live streams. It's not the same without Rob and Ben, but it's nice to be able to interact with you guys a little bit more. So yes, where was I? So yeah, I think boredom has been the big thing kind of driving the Memecoin thing. like I said to Rob and Ben the other week, it's not something that bothers me a huge amount when we're in a bear market like this, because I don't think there are really very many newbies around. I think most people who are in crypto, I mean, if you're still in crypto right now, you're a grizzled veteran. You're hardened. You're hardcore. So I'm fairly confident there aren't too many people sort of coming into crypto for the first time, seeing all this talk about Pepe or whatever other meme coin it is, going in and losing a whole load of money. I'm kind of fairly confident that most of the people here kind of know what they're doing. So I think there is boredom as well. I'm a grizzly veteran. Well done, you, Tracy. Welcome to the Grizzly Veterans Club. So, flat Earth token. Oh my word. Oh my word. So yes, I think boredom, and I saw an interesting take on Twitter about this the other day as well. And you'll have to forgive me, whoever posted this, but I forget who it was said it. But they said, if you want to understand meme coins, if you want to understand why people are going in, so hard into tokens that have no value, ask yourself why millions of people across the world every day buy lottery tickets that you have, a 1,000,000 to 1 chance at best of winning. People still want to have a punt. So people still want some excitement. People still want a bit of action, which ties again into the boredom aspect of it. So I think that kind of explains the whole meme coin thing recently. And I must say, I've kind of enjoyed it. I sat it out on the sidelines. I knew I'd probably be too late to it. So I sat it out, and it's been kind of fascinating to watch. And all I'll say is, folks, if you are going to go into them, be very careful. You've got to assume that you'll lose all your money. Don't be afraid to take profits. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. I'm sure Rob will back me up on that. Oh yeah, one thing I wanted to say: a friend of mine earlier today I've just received a new owl. Okay, Jerome Owl is still here. Jerome Owl is still in the picture. Don't you worry. But I've just received a new owl. A good friend of mine here in Dubai. I met him for lunch, and he gave me this. His mum made it. Which is really cool. So I've been given a new owl, and we need to find a name for him. Obviously, we've got Jerome Owl down here. So suggestions for what I can call this guy. Not necessarily male. Could be female as well. Obviously, we're not making any assumptions. Yeah, we will. I hope you guys did a great job of picking a name for Jerome Owl. Gary the Owl, Charles Hootskinson. We have a winner. Oh, I put up the wrong comment there. Erin just saying sigh. Oh dear. Oh well, I'll keep it up there. Okay, so we need a new name for the owl. Gary Owl Mojo. Interesting. Okay, so what else was I going to talk about as well? So Bitcoin obviously below 27K, or it was last time I looked a few minutes ago. Yep, it is still kind of hovering there. I have seen a fair bit of on-chain evidence to say that there are a lot of buy orders around 25K, which suggests that it may hold that level pretty well. Always got to be wary of making price predictions. I must say, I'm not. I don't really foresee any particularly, barring a black swan or something, some crazy bit of good news. I don't see anything particularly interesting happening for Bitcoin's price over the next few weeks or so. My best guess is that it will probably bounce around between. Well, it could go down to 24, I guess, but maybe sort of bounce around between 25 and 27K. I don't really see it getting sort of above 30 soon. But I could, of course, be wrong. But the big takeaway is it's all kind of fairly boring. Although people in the comments are owl yelling. People in the comments are suggesting that we're going to see a 60K Bitcoin soon. That is very, very optimistic. I mean, I'm seeing people saying that we're going to see a new alt season soon. I've seen a lot of people saying that on Twitter. People who don't strike me as being crazy. I'm not sure how on earth we can have an alt season anytime soon. but who knows? But it's certainly it's not something that I'm looking out for. Bitcoin to $5,000, then I can finally buy one. Yeah, this is the thing. This is the big unspoken secret. The only people brave enough to say this, I think, are people like Rob, who say, they want they want BTC to go lower, they want crypto to go lower, so they can buy more. And I think there's a lot of that about. I think a lot of people would like to see Bitcoin go a heck of a lot lower so as they can buy some, which I think is why algorithm. Algorithm, do you like that? Okay. I'm still liking Charles Hootkinson. I think Charles Hootkinson may have come up before, but either way, it's a good one. So at the moment, he's Charles Hootkinson, but let's see. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing in the comments lots of people want all sorts of cryptos to go lower, so they can just pile on in. Okay, so we've talked about BTC. Another thing that's been interesting over the last couple of weeks or so is BRC-20 tokens and ordinals. This idea of sort of NFTs on Bitcoin, and of course the Bitcoin community, reliably enough, have gone absolutely crazy over this. I even saw, of course, the block size debate has started up again among some corners of the community, which is. Yeah, it's like, wow, we're back in, what was it, 2017 again? So yeah, I think, I'm kind of divided on this. I think ordinals have been a very interesting experiment. BRC-20 tokens, I mean, do we really need more meme coins? Is that what Bitcoin's for? My personal view would be no. I do think ordinals are interesting. And I do like this idea. I think Michael Saylor was talking about this recently. This idea of being able to inscribe data on the Bitcoin blockchain forever. I think Michael was talking about, if he put his will on the blockchain, is that something that you would be, you'd be willing to pay the transaction fee for? So. Yeah, I think there could be some future for ordinals. Obviously, the problem is that the more popular it becomes, the more clogged up the Bitcoin blockchain gets, and I guess it just makes the case for the Lightning Network all that much stronger. But I think one of the things that we can be sure of in crypto for the next few years, at any rate, is that there is going to be this ongoing debate about what Bitcoin's role actually is. Is it going to be something that the Freemasons literally worship owls? Do they? Interesting. You should do the secret handshake now at some point. So yeah, I think that debate is likely to go on for some time. Me personally, I kind of edge towards the idea that I think Bitcoin really is. You want to keep it simple. It has diverted somewhat from what Satoshi envisioned it to be. It does now seem to be moving towards this kind of store of value, the digital gold narrative. I think that would be enough for Bitcoin personally. Obviously, looking forward into the future, there's things about, as the block rewards diminish, how are you going to reward miners if there are no transaction fees on the network? And obviously, or very low activity on the network, not generating much in the way of fees for miners. That is something that will have to be addressed. And perhaps things like ordinals could be a way to do that. But yeah, it's been fascinating. I mean, I do have a lot of sympathy for Bitcoin miners. They've had a pretty tough ride of it recently. So I think all this latest BRC-20 tomfoolery and ordinals action has been good for them, certainly generating transaction fees. So yeah, it's basically the Bitcoin debate, the store of value or the medium of exchange or whatever it's going to be, is going to continue for quite some time. Okay, can you make guide videos? How to stake, how to airdrop, how to liquid stake, how to set up wallets, how to buy NFTs, how to earn crypto. Okay, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, I think we've toyed with that. I did do I have done kind of setup guides for. I did a setup guide for a Trezor wallet recently. I think that was the last one I did. So yeah, okay. Let me save the comment, because we're always looking to expand our content. Yeah, guide videos, how to stake. That could be a good one. I guess at the moment we're sort of thinking, well, is there much call for that at the moment? But certainly there seems to be from at least one person. So I will bear it in mind. Thank you for the comment. Do you know about Foxify, a new sex coming in June? This is the first I've heard about Foxify. I look forward to hearing more. Dan Teaches Crypto does all that. That is very true. Why would I step on? Why would I go against good old Dan Teaches Crypto? Yeah, Rob is your man for guides. So there's your answer. I should stay in my lane, really. Okay, so what else did I want to talk? I've talked about meme coins. I've talked about Ripple. The other thing that caught my eye. Oh, so back very briefly to BRC-20s. I saw now that we have DRC-20s. So this is a new token standard on Dogecoin. Now, I think there are a lot of people who would say we probably didn't really need BRC-20s in our life, and I think we can definitely agree that do we really need DRC-20s? Do we really need a token standard on Dogecoin? I'm not sure. I don't think so personally. But something that I did learn from sort of looking into these DRC-20s, I did not know, firstly, that there were smaller indivisible units of Dogecoin. So obviously, Bitcoin has Sats, ETH has Gwei, Cardano has ADA and Lovelace. Lovelace is a subdivision of an ADA. And can anyone guess what it is for Dogecoin? I mean, I didn't even know that there were until recently. But an individual indivisible unit of a Doge is an Elon. There we are. Fitting, I guess. Seeing as he's basically been pumping it, and probably owns more of it than anyone else for a long time. So there we are. So yes, and I think it was following a kind of similar thing, like people being able to inscribe data on individual Elons on individual Doge as well. So. Yeah, there we are. DRC-20 tokens on Dogecoin. We've had BRC-20s and now it's DRC-20s. Please, Lord, make it stop. Do we really need any more of this? But of course, as I said in a recent video as well, I think I did a TikTok video about this the other day. What this means, of course, is that we are going to approach that peak bear market moment when someone builds a meme coin on a meme coin. And when that happens, guys, you'll know it's time to just step away, take some time off, and just go and touch grass. Go and leave crypto alone for a little bit. If we see meme coins launching on Dogecoin, then that's it. Rob is off. Rob, thank you so much for joining in the comments today. It's great to have you here. Moral support, if nothing else. And once again, I'm sure everyone else will join me in wishing you well. And I hope your throat gets better soon. I hope you enjoy Miami if you're going there. I still have my suspicions that this is secretly a cover for you going and partying hard in Miami. But whatever it is, get well soon, Rob, and see you next week, which is when NFA Live will be back, and we'll be hearing about Ben and possibly Rob's adventures in Miami. Is anyone, by the way, watching? Are any of you guys going to Miami this year? For Bitcoin, obviously, for the Bitcoin conference. Rob and Ben partying hard in Miami. This is what I think. I think they're taking NFA Live into the clubs of Miami. God help us all. Rob and Ben didn't invite Guy. I know. You can tell from my voice that I'm bitter about it. I'm just jealous. Yeah, I wanted to go to Miami as well. No, I did consider going to Miami this year, but I'm in Dubai at the moment. I'm going back to the UK very soon because we have our own Coin Bureau conference in June, and just a little bit up against it with work at the moment. There's just just so much going on here at the moment. It's that I should use this as an opportunity to shill. I'm just going to tease you with some exciting stuff coming up at Coin Bureau very, very soon. I know I've been saying this for quite a long time, but in the next few, weeks, I hope, you should be seeing some new cool stuff coming your way from Coin Bureau. I can't say any more than that because everything is still in the development stage at the moment. But we've been, the team has been working really, really hard, and I think you're going to love some of the stuff that we're going to be rolling out over the next few weeks and months. Not financial advice. Thank you, David. You're killing it in the comments today, David. I love it. Bogdanov financial advice disclaimer. Yes, I know. I've seen a lot of requests for this, and I keep forgetting about it. And of course, I could use kind of AI, couldn't I? This is not financial advice. I need to work on that. I need to work on the impression. A Coin Bureau coin? No, that is what. let me just pop any rumors of that. We are not launching a token. We are not launching our own crypto project. There is going to be no Coin Bureau coin. There's going to be no Guy coin or anything like that. Are you the one who created Homer Simpson coin? Oh, if there's a Homer Simpson coin, no, it wasn't me. No, goodness me. It dilutes the rest of the crypto market. You're right. Coin Bureau Trading has been great. I'm glad to hear it. Yes, if you haven't checked out Coin Bureau Trading, it's our newest channel. We have an excellent TA expert there, a guy called Dan. He is, there's the thing for it, just popped up now. Dan at Coin Bureau Trading is an amazing guy. He's possibly the most full-on, in a good way, guy that I've ever met. He is just a ball of energy, but his trading knowledge is unsurpassable. He's a great guy, and he really knows his stuff, obviously. So do check out Coin Bureau Trading if you're interested, and I would love to hear your feedback on it as well. So far, been getting lots of good feedback. Dan is a great teacher, very fun, absolute great teacher, and a lovely guy as well. Okay, was there anything else that I wanted to touch on? We've still got a couple of minutes. Yes, another thing I noticed looking at the charts is that there have been some kind of GameFi and Metaverse tokens pumping recently. Now, I sort of did a bit of digging into this. Now, the best reason I could find for this is I think there seems to be a lot of excitement around Apple's new AR VR, kind of AR VR headset. And I've seen rumors that it may be due to be released in June. I've seen the 5th of June as a particular date. Now, I think this speculation seems to be, it's the only reason why I can see that things like Mana and stuff, Metaverse and GameFi tokens, it's the only reason. Gala, I think, pumped as well as a result. That's the only reason I can see why, but there does seem to be quite a lot of excitement around this this new Apple device. And yeah, it's the rumors I'm hearing it's going to cost $3,000 apparently, but apparently it's going to blow every other similar device. It's going to be way better than the Oculus and things like that. So that, I think, is why we're seeing Metaverse and gaming coins pump. That's my best guess as well. I noticed a few people in the comments as well. Did I mention the Ledger debacle? Yes, I did mention the Ledger debacle kind of at the top of the episode. We talked about that a little bit. So some closing thoughts on Ledger. Like I said earlier, I understand why Ledger are trying to find a solution to this idea of, trying to do something about people losing access to their crypto because they lose their seed phrase. But basically, the way they've gone about it is not right. You should not be able to export a seed phrase from a hardware wallet. Full stop. It's not about people opting in or not opting in. It's not about people choosing not to download the firmware. It just shouldn't happen. The seed phrase should stay on the hardware device. That is the whole point of a hardware wallet. So that's all. Yeah, that's my kind of closing thoughts on Ledger. Like I say, I don't think this is the end for Ledger. I'm sure Ledger can pull this back, but they need to rethink this thing, because obviously it's got a terrible reaction from the crypto community. Last I saw, they kind of doubling down about it. And I don't think that's the right thing to do. And as I said earlier as well, I think probably the best place for them to start is by open sourcing their code and going from there. So by no means the end of the line for Ledger, but they do need to rethink this latest feature. No bueno. Okay, so anything else I wanted to mention as well? A good channel. I've seen a few people asking about Cosmos and stuff in the comments. As you know, I am a big fan of Cosmos. I hold Atom in my portfolio. It's one of the few altcoins that I am still holding on to at the moment. And I highly recommend, now there is, for those of you who don't know, for those of you who are fans of Cosmos or want to know more about it, there is a great channel out there called CryptoCito. That's CITO. And he talks, he's a guy called Michael, and he talks about, his channel is devoted to Cosmos. He does talk about other projects as well, but it's very much a Cosmos ecosystem focused channel. CryptoCito, in fact, I will post a comment. I'll post a comment. That is the one. Really nice guy. He's based out here in Dubai as well. I've chatted with him on a couple of occasions. He is a really cool guy, knows more about Cosmos than anyone else on planet Earth, I think it's fair to say. Probably even more than the Cosmos devs themselves do. So do check out CryptoCito. It's a great channel. He's a great guy, especially, and if you're interested in Cosmos and obviously Cosmos ecosystem projects. And I'm also, I'm going to be appearing at, he's organized an event, Atom Dubai, which is happening this Friday here in Dubai. I think tickets are sold out for it. It's only a little small thing, but I'm appearing with Michael there. We're going to do a fireside and just kind of talk a bit about the Cosmos ecosystem. I'm basically going to ask him as many questions as I can about Cosmos, because he knows more about, he's probably forgotten more about Cosmos than I will ever know. So yeah, do check that out. That's your channel recommendation for today. Obviously, also check out Rob on Digital Asset News, Ben at Into the Cryptoverse as well. Normally they would be with me. So just to remind you, there won't be an NFA live stream tomorrow because Ben's in Miami and Rob is not feeling well, or possibly in Miami too. But normal service will be resumed next week. So we will be doing NFA live next week. If I remember rightly, it will be on Rob's channel, Digital Asset News. And I will see you all then. I think that's everything I wanted to talk about as well. Did we decide on a name? I think we're going with Charles Hootskinson for the new owl. Anyone asking, I did see someone asking about Cardano in the comments, and obviously I forgot to mention as well, obviously, was it last week that Hydra was rolled out, this scaling solution for Cardano? That seemed to fly under the radar a little bit. So yeah, that's good news for Cardano. Obviously it's a bear market, so it doesn't seem to have done anything much to ADA's price, but I know Hydra was sort of highly anticipated, so that's good news to see that go live. And I think there are more updates for Cardano in the pipeline as well. Haven't covered it for a while, so I will, but obviously going to try and keep up to date with it. So move to Dubai, hook up with Guy. Oh dear. Okay, so thanks everyone for watching. It's been lovely to chat to you all in the comments, and I hope you all have a great week. Oh, it's still only Wednesday, isn't it? So still a bit of it to go. Let's see what happens. Let's follow all the developments, and I will see you guys next week, Thursday, NFA Live, Digital Asset News. See you then. Okay. Bye, everyone.